let us continue looking at some amazing pet cards from Magic the Gathering players. I read some comments from the last video that we did, and this actually hits really close to home. This one's called Divert, a blue. Instant, change the target of target spell with a single target unless that spell's controller pays 2 generic mana. And boy, do I wish this card actually existed in Modern. It would be a huge blowout. I could all of a sudden, you know, switcheroo the prismatic ending around on my opponent. I can move anything around. Basically, if you target one thing with a removal spell, I mean, you're not gonna hit my Merfolk with your Unholy Heat. I'm gonna hit your Death Shadow. So I love this sort of effect. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Divert, but what I am a fan of, and this is my pet card in Commander. It's a pet card because I know it sucks. It's so bad, is Misdirection. Same thing. Target spell with a single target targets another target instead. But it's like Force of Will because I can exile a blue card from my hand as an alternate cost to paying Misdirection's mana cost. So basically, you know, like Force of Will, pitch a blue card, misdirect whatever you want. The problem in Commander, it's not often people are targeting something with one target. There's either like multiple targets or everyone gets hit with something. It's really hard to get really good value off of Misdirection. I love it when it goes off, but it's like a really sort of... It's really janky in Commander. Could really use this in Modern, though. This would be a fantastic reprint. Would love to see it. Nicol Bolas, Dragon God, is my pet card. War of the Spark was my first box, and he got me really into Magic. Nicol Bolas. There's a lot of Nicol Bolas fans out there. Our veteran mod Lord Magicus, huge fan of Nicol Bolas, probably owns all of these. With you, Nicol Bolas, Dragon God. This one. Oh, the Planeswalker. You know, normally people like the creature that flips into a Planeswalker. 5 mana. Furthest on the dark side at triple black. Nicol Bolas, Dragon God, has all loyalty abilities of all Planeswalkers on the battlefield. +1, you draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. -3, destroy target creature or Planeswalker, of course. And -8, each opponent who doesn't control a legendary creature or Planeswalker loses the game. That's nuts. You're like 5 turns away from that. A pet card, I think, for a lot of people also is like Nicol Bolas the Ravager. Haven't seen too much play out of this, but I have seen play out of this. It's like a decent card. 4 mana, 4/4 flyer is like, it's okay. And on top of that, you know, you get to each opponent discards a card, so you get a little value no matter what happens to this Nicol Bolas. And the flip side is nuts. The Nicol Bolas the Arisen plus, I mean, it might as well be Ugin. +2, draw 2 cards. -3, deals 10 damage to target creature or Planeswalker. -4, put target creature or Planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's pretty disgusting. There's Lord Magicus. I own lots of Nicol Bolases. Fun fact, there are, I think, 11 variants of the Dragon God. They did that, didn't they? They like doing that. They like doing that. Mikey J, huge fan of Warping Wail because it seems like it should be good, but really isn't. It's okay. It needs to be for the right deck, but Warping Wail, I mean, it's got all the modes. Exile target creature with power, toughness 1 or less. That's a lot. There's a lot of creatures in the metagame like that. You can hit Rogvans, the Dragon Rage Channelers, the Stoneforge Mystics. Counter target sorcery spell. You can hit Scape Shift. You can hit Bring to Light. You can hit Expressive Iteration. And the last mode, put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Sign creature token onto the battlefield. It has sacrifice this creature, add 1 colorless. This is not technically generic mana. 1 colorless to your mana pool. Alright, so you're in good shape here with the Warping Wail. The hardest part about Warping Wail is just getting the mana for it, because you need that colorless, right? So you need, like, Tron mana. You need Mutavault mana. And that's awkward mana these days. It's just awkward, that's all. It's a really awkward card to cast. But all the modes are pretty good. Like, you're not going to go wrong with Warping Wail. Happy Friday, Aztec guy. Isn't your actual pet card Tidebinder Mage since you are stocking up on it? That's not a pet card. Tidebinder Mage. It's a real card, Keith. That's a real card. I'm stocking up on it because it's undervalued. Yeah, I own over 700 of these in digital. One day this card's going to the moon. Falky! Good morning. What's pet cards? By the way, you look like that guy from Dude Perfect. Look like a lot of people. A pet card is a card that you like to play. It's got some utility, but objectively, it's not really that good. But you play it anyway because you like it and you have fun with it. You like it anyway. Just like Eden. Can Bloodbraid Marauder be a good value card in decks that get Delirium already? Let's see. Bloodbraid Marauder. This is not the name of the card. Sorry about that, Eden. I don't know what card this is. I don't know. It's gonna go with Lava Man and Siege Rhino. I'm sure that's Lava Mancer. I don't know if anyone mentioned Siege Rhino the other day. A lot of people want to keep making this work in 2022. I think the ship has sailed on Siege Rhino. Unless we can make Rhino Tribal a real thing. I don't know how many rhinos there are in this game, but I assume not a whole lot. But maybe we can get Cavern of Souls on Rhino and start casting our Siege Rhinos. Maybe we'll make a comeback. Need a lot of value out of this thing. Erwin says Questing Beast. That's definitely a pet card. That's a card that looks good for Modern, but it's like it's a little clunky, right? And like, what does it beat? The Vigilance is nice, not gonna lie. Vigilance, Death Touch, you can't go wrong there. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. I think everything basically has more power than that, except for the Ragavan. Ragavan just screwed. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. And whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls. This probably might be underrated for Modern. With all those Teferi Time Ravelers running around, the Ren and 6s, Questing Beast actually looks relatively well positioned. Not perfect. Not perfect. I mean, it's a chonker, right? It's a chonker at 4 mana, but seems more playable than ever. Well, oh, this is a cute one. Vampire Hexmage. It looks so good at first. 2 mana, 2/1 creature, first strike. What's not to hate? You can block Ragavan profitably with this. Sacrifice Vampire Hexmage. Remove all counters from target permanent. Now, it looks like this is the Planeswalker killer, right? But there is a problem, and the problem is no matter how you get rid of that Planeswalker, you're down a card, and they had to have got value. If they played Teferi Time Raveler and bounced something, they drew a card. If they played Ren and 6 and brought even a single fetch land from the graveyard, they got a card. So you're just down cards when you exchange with a Planeswalker. I think the only Planeswalker you might definitely want to get rid of is something like Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, where it would be worth it to be down on value. Where it would be worth it. But yeah, very nice card. Very nice, cute pet card. Thief of Sanity. Doesn't this see some play in those? Oh no, I'm thinking of a different card. Thief of Sanity. Flying, whenever Thief of Sanity deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of that player's library. Exile one of them face down, then put the rest into their graveyard. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may look at it, you may cast it, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast that spell. This is like, what is that? Spectral Knight something. Can't remember. There's another card that's so similar to this. So you like to steal your opponent's cards and play them. Alright. It's a pretty bad card. Not gonna lie. It's a pretty bad card, but I get what you like to do. You like to steal your opponent's stuff. Nothing wrong with that. Joseph says, Gary, this is a great pet card. Grey Merchant. The Grey Merchant of Asphodel. This is a great card. for a pet card. 5 mana, 2/4 creature. Maybe we can make a Cabal's Coffers mono black devotion deck. Is that possible? Can we make that happen? When Grey Merchant of Asphodel enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. I'm thinking we should make a mono black devotion deck in Modern with like... Because there's some good devotion cards out there, like Girl's Messenger. What else do we put in there? Maybe Phyrexian Obliterator. Oh man, this thing's just building itself. And we just take out all the, I don't know, the lock pieces or combo pieces in the Cabal Coffers deck. Just fill it with this stuff. We just need the consistency. We'll have the tutor and the maps to make sure we get the Cabal Coffers online. But then we just play Grey Merchants and stuff like that. Really strong card. Really strong. I mean, it's a good card still if you can cast it. The problem with it is that it's slow. Really, really slow. Super slow. Grim Grin is the sole reason why I forever will be a Dimir player, and specifically a Dimir control player. Grim Grin. Does anyone even know what this card is before I even look it up? Has anyone even heard of it? I've never heard of this card. Grim Grin, Corpseborn. 5 mana, 5/5. Okay, at least you get a big chunky creature out of it. Enters the battlefield tapped and doesn't untap during your untap step. That sucks. Sacrifice another creature, untap Grim Grin, and put a +1/+1 counter on it. That also sucks. Whenever Grim Grin attacks, destroy target creature defending player controls, then put a +1/+1 counter on Grim Grin. That's good. Overall, I don't think this card works, but I can see the appeal. I can see the appeal. Ziga loves Cozy's Trickster. Very tricksy card. This is like an ability only blue would get. It's a 1/1 Merfolk for 1 blue. Whenever an opponent shuffles his or her library, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Cozy's Trickster. I know this is definitely something my brother would like. What? You get an ability for shuffling? This is great. And we should get some abilities. Then my brother would probably say something like, we should also get abilities for the opponent getting up to use the washroom or something like that. For every time a judge walks by, get a +1/+1 counter. Thunderbreak Regent is in my Dark Magician of MTG. The Thunderbreak. It's like one of the better dragons they've printed. Is this like just maybe one of the best dragons? I guess it's behind Glorybringer. Glorybringer actually saw modern play. I guess this saw a little bit of modern play as well. 4/4 flyer for 4 mana. Whenever a dragon you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you take 3 damage. S-Ride, my pet card, and my first modern deck I built around is Gary. It took me months to win with. It will, won't it? Hey, look, I think Gary has some chance now with the mono black coffers shell. I think they've set the stage. Because the problem with this card, the only problem is the mana cost. It's a very powerful card. It's very strong. Super ultra powerful. But it's really expensive. At 5 mana, you're basically dead by then. You're not going to survive any deck at 5, casting things at 5 mana. So if you can get it out earlier with like Cabal Coffers and Yawgmoth, then I think it's possible. Or Urborg, sorry. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Please build it. I will not build it. You guys build it. I'll review it. And then we'll play it. Oh, Gifted Aetherborn. I have to admit, I thought this card was like straight gas, but you play with this card and it's terrible. It's just so bad. You never even want to attack with this thing. You can't attack, you can't block. It's not the value you think it is. Pathetic 2/3 creature. It looks so much better than it actually is. If this thing had Persist or Undying or something, now we're talking. This probably would be like tier 1, but as it is, it's just, I don't know, like a really mediocre Death Touch creature. Doesn't even attack for a whole lot of damage. Spectre, Phantom Nishoba. The Phantom. What the hell is this? 7 mana. Cat, Beast, Spirit, Trample, Phantom, Nishoba. Enter the battlefield with 7+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever Phantom Nishoba deals damage, you gain that much life. If damage would be dealt to Phantom Nishoba, prevent that damage, remove a counter from Phantom Nishoba. But it costs 7 mana. I mean, maybe this is a commander card. But it's definitely not a modern card. Not legal in modern. So yeah, for commander, well, I guess you know you can cast anything in commander. You commander players with your soul rings and mana vaults and all sorts of other stupid cards. Myth realized. This is a card I want to say this was super hyped up. So it's like 1 white enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put a counter on a lore counter on Myth Realized. You can put a counter on it for 3 mana. Then for 1 white until end of turn, Myth Realized becomes a monk avatar creature in addition to its other types, and gains this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lore counters on it. Bombed hard, but I want to say that people had high hopes for this card. What's with this Island of Whack Whack card? It's like $800. And it does nothing, basically. Yeah, it had a little bit of hype. It's like, oh, this is gonna be a great card. No, it's not. But it looks like it has potential, doesn't it? It looks good. It looks good. It's just not good. But it looks good, and that's why we play it as our pet card. Marauding Raptor. Oh, this thing. 2 mana, 2/3 creature. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, which is not bad. Stats on this thing aren't terrible. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Marauding Raptor deals 2 damage to it. If a dinosaur is dealt damage this way, Marauding Raptor gets +2/+0. Isn't this a good card, though? Doesn't this have, like, a combo to it? I could swear this is a combo card in Commander. This is not that bad of a card. It's good against the... It's like, good versus... It's good for... I think some sort of, like, creature combo decks where you want to deal damage to the creature. Yeah, great Dino Commander. Jurassic Park Commander. I'm getting all these Jurassic Park ads and stuff. YouTube's trying to feed me Jurassic Park for no reason. Jurassic World! That could be the next Secret Lair. Secret Lair Jurassic Park. You got John Hammond in there. You get Malcolm. Jurassic, that could be the, I don't know if that's the greatest crossover ever, but it's possible. But like, who's casting spells? It's weird. But I mean, in none of those universes is there magic. Yeah, clever girl. It is a raptor too, yeah. They can open doors. Barely, but they can do it. Nikachu's secret pet card is Thrasta. That was like one of the greatest videos I had. Like, this is one of my worst predictions ever. It did end up seeing play, but for the completely wrong reasons. It ends up seeing play in the Neo brand decks. Not where I thought it was going to be. Thundermaw Hellkite. This used to be a modern playable card. And it was good because it beat up Lingering Soul tokens. We've got Trunic with the super chat. Thank you so much for the $7. 7 Canadian dollars out there. Does anyone have any pet land cards? Mine's a foil River of Tears. Happy Friday, Nikachu. Thank you so much, Trunic. River of Tears. This is such a badass looking land. Let's get on. Where's the future sight land? This land looks like it's from the future. The design is from the future. Add a blue to your mana pool. But if you played a land this turn, add a black to your mana pool. I love this card. I love the flavor of. I love the name. I love the art. I love everything about it except its playability. It's unplayable. And it's modern legal. It's a modern legal card. And it used to be like a dual. Some decks I think still played it, but it's like it's the dual land that is snap getting replaced when there is anything good to replace it with. It's gone. It's just gone. Oh, this is a huge pet card for so many people. It's a huge build-around card, right? Rally the Ancestors. Man, how many times did we see Rally the Ancestors show up on Decklist review? White, white, X. Return each creature card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile those creatures at the beginning of your next upkeep. Exile Rally the Ancestors. Actually, isn't this just... Hold on. Maybe this is not the card. Exile those creatures at the beginning of your next upkeep. That's terrible. What kind of value is this? This is crap. Isn't there a better card than this that just literally brings them back from the graveyard onto the battlefield? I think there's a much better one. Desert is my pet land card. Was good in Pauper Fog. I think my pet... If I had a pet land card... So here's Desert. Deal 1 damage target attacking creature. Activate only during the end of combat step. I'll 1-up. This is better. This is so much better. How long was this? This was legal since Arabian Nights. Wow, if only I knew this card. I gotta own myself a Desert. I like land cards, you know? I like land cards. Tap to add 1... Oh, this is yeah, or deal 1 damage to target attacking creature after it deals damage. I'm out there with quicksand, and this is just so much worse because I have to sack the damn thing. So I mean, this was my go-to card a long time ago, and I would love to play that even today, but it's unplayable. Sacrifice quicksand. Target attacking creature without flying gets -1/-2 until end of turn. I remember I had an April Fool's that involved this, and it was so funny. Well, I don't know, it was funny and it wasn't funny, because, like, some people snap bought foils of this when I released the April Fool's video. It's like, I was giving off some really stupid, janky version of Merfolk, and I'm like, this is the future. And I bought foil quicksands of my own just to prove that I was committed to it. Anyway. The good old days. Oh, I was thinking of Return to Ranks. All these cards are terrible. Like, you know, they're all bad because return to X target creature cards with converted mana cost 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. I think that is closer to what I was thinking about. But yeah, that's at least you get to keep the creatures. But like, I guess it's a fantasy of most people, like, all my creatures always die, so let's bring them back in one huge army. That'll learn that control deck. That'll learn them. And then they get the return to ranks countered and they realize, oh, that's why this card is unplayable. Boom! These are 2 huge pet cards in the Merfolk deck. Psionic Blast. So this is more of a... And it's not bad. I've played Psionic Blast a few times now. It's a good card. It's like, it's fine. It's the only downside is that it's expensive. That's the downside, but it's not terrible. It's really not terrible. And then there's Scab Ruinator. Who knows, maybe Scab Ruinator is pretty good in this economy. As an additional cost to cast Scab Ruinator, exile 3 creature cards from your graveyard. Flying, you may cast Scab Ruinator from your graveyard. But the idea is you get like a Vial on 3 and just plop this thing down. You have a 5/6 flyer. Grind them up. Grind them out! Grind them and bind them. What do I think of Haunting Voyage? Six mana. I could end the review right there. Sorcery. Choose a creature type. Return up to 2 creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. If this spell was foretold, return all creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield instead. This is an expensive card. But in Commander, you can do anything because it'll definitely get paid off. Didn't we do Fraying Sanity? Oh wait a minute, I think this is what I was thinking. Oh, this is what I was thinking about earlier. with that card stealing creature. Okay, Frings. This actually sees play in some mill decks. All right. So this is not the dumbest pet card out there. A blue and 2 generic enchant player. At the beginning of each end step, enchanted player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, where X is the number of cards put into that graveyard from anywhere this turn. So basically, you double your milling capability. I don't know where this is good or bad or why they don't play it. Maybe it's awkward, not sure, but anyway, fraying sanity. And before we get too much further, we're gonna go through more pet cards because you guys love them. But at the same time, we gotta show off the sponsors. FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week this week. Save 15% off all Secret Lair singles and sealed product. So if you missed out on the Secret Lair, you want to get those sweet looking arts, the new Consecrated Sphinx, you can find them at FusionGamingOnline.com. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout to get yourself 5% off all your purchases. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online and playtest all these pet cards to your content. Do as much as you want. I mean, you're not gonna get punished for buying this jank because you're just renting it. You can rent an infinite amount of it using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_K3W. I think this coupon code is active for like 5 more days, so get in on it while the getting is good. Then it's gonna go down to 10%. Just a heads up. Just a heads up. Sun Droplet, that's a nice one, Ted. That is a sweet one. So we got Sun Droplet here. Whenever you're dealt damage, put that many charge counters on Sun Droplet. This did see modern play. I played against this card many times. At the beginning of each upkeep, you may remove a charge counter from Sun Droplet if you do gain a life. It's a nice one. It's not terrible. Vegan Economist loves Runaway Steamkin. Runaway Steamkin, red and 1 generic 1/1 creature. When you cast red spells, it gets bigger. It gets a +1/+1 counter up to 3 though. If it has fewer than 3 +1/+1 counters on it, put a counter on it. So it can become as big as a 4/4 creature. Then remove the 3 counters. You can get triple red. Cash it in. Desi loves Vendilion Click. Oh, Mitchell with the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Tails End and Squelch. Let's look at Squelch. This is, oh, we looked at this the other day. Counter target activated. Did you ask me the other day, like, is this card good in modern? Counter target activated ability, draw a card. So it's only if it was triggered abilities as well, it would be very good. But I see you like these types of cards, don't you? Those triggers. Oh, you want to fetch a land, huh? Well, fetch this! In your face. Okay, Desi loves Vendilion Click. Truth be told, this card is still playable. Still playable. Not in the greatest shape, admittedly, but still playable. Oh, that's like a pet. Forget pet card. That's a pet deck. Soul Flare. Soul Flare, Delve. If a creature card with flying was exiled, Soul Flare's Delve. With Soul Flare's Delve ability, Soul Flare has flying. Same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. So the more funny creatures that you delve away with Soul Flare, the more powerful it gets. Sometimes it's just impossible to deal with the damn thing. Just crazy. Lord of the Unreal, and yes, I have a pet deck around that too. I can't remember, there was someone, maybe it was you, Roadkill. Someone was like persistent at like, when are you making the illusion deck? When are you making an illusion deck? I'm like, I'm not making an illusion, what are you talking about? It's like, they should have paid for the Decklist review. Anyway, the Lord of the Unreal is just a 2/2 creature, illusion creatures you control. Get +1/+1 and have hexproof, which is important because normally you just target an illusion and poof, it's gone. First you see it, now you don't. Super Kid 5,000, says Twilight Prophet. Let's see what you're talking about. 4 mana, flying 2/4 creature with Ascend. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the City's Blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is that card's converted mana cost. It's not a bad value, to be honest. But it like encourages you to fill your deck up with a bunch of clunky stuff in order to make it good. Oh, that is a neat pet card. That's like modern playable. Nyx. James Vaca maybe ahead of the curve here. And this is so playable right now. Nyx, 1 blue, counter target spell if no mana was spent to play it. No mana. I would not be surprised if some deck showed up and they had 4 Nyx in it. What can you counter with Nyx in this metagame? You can hit the Living End, you can hit the Crashing Footfalls, you can hit the Solitude, the Fury, all the free mana stuff. If you're trying to protect your graveyard, you can hit the Endurance. So I mean, like, this is actually maybe just a straight underrated card for the metagame. It's a pretty underrated card. I think this is like one of the pacts. Yeah, you can counter pacts. Summoner's Pact in the Amulet Titan deck. Chalice on 0. That's funny. So this actually does hit like a ton of decks. It's a pretty real card, pretty underrated. I think it's spiked when the Elementals came out, if I'm not correct. If I am not mistaken here. Yeah, there was a big spike when Modern Horizons 2 came out. Oh, the free spells are gonna get us all! They're right. The free spells did get us all. No one's safe from the free spells. What's the foil at? Woo! Well, it's not too bad, though. 21 bucks. So it spiked to like $5-ish. Oh, shuts off Force of Negation, too. Yeah, I'll hit Force of Negation. Pretty good card. Very good card. Probably I should playtest this. I mean, especially for a Merfolk deck, like, we don't like seeing Solitudes or Furies or anything like that. Direwolf! Thank you so much for the super chat. Great Bow Doyen is my pet card, but I want Archer. I want an Archer modern deck. The Great Bow. Great Boy Doyen. Look at this. 5 mana, 2/4 creature, Elf Archer. So you can throw that in your Elf deck. Other Archer creatures you control get +1/+1. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of archers. Not a lot of archers in this game. No, not any good ones. Whenever an Archer you control deals damage to a creature, that Archer deals that much damage to that creature's controller. You know, this makes me wonder. They should have made a Lord for a creature type that doesn't exist in Future Sight. You know, Future Sight had all the like futuristic cards. Like, let's go back to River of Tears. Like, the whole idea of Future Sight is that they made a design that you might see deep in the future. Cards you might see deep in the future. They should have made a Lord for a creature type that didn't exist yet. Like, even a Lord for Eldrazi. If only they could see that far. That'd have been neat. Spell Rupture says Splenectomy. Counter target spell unless its controller pays X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Sounds like a unified will problem. If you have no creatures, well, not gonna do a whole lot, but hey, that's why they are pet cards. What's going on here? What's with the riggers? Hold on, there was actually a Lord? Rigger. Oh, so there is some sort of weird creature type. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from play, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Moriok Rigger. Chitty, chitty, bang, 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 bang. What's going on here? When Joyride Rigger enters the battlefield, it assembles a contraption. Chitty chitty bang bang, bang bang, bang 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 bang, bang 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 bang, bang bang bang. Alrighty then. What's your opinion on modern green-red shamans? My opinion is I played one game and ephemerate is. My opinion is ephemerate is very good in the deck. That's my opinion. Steam Flogger Boss. We got the Steam Flogger, a red and 3 generic 3/3 other. There actually was. There actually was. Okay, so other rigger creatures you control get +1/+0 and have haste. If a rigger you control would assemble a contraption, it assembles 2 contraptions instead. So okay, so I thought it would be cool if they had something like this. You're right. Okay, so how many rigger creatures are there? Advanced, we gotta look up. Creature rigger. There's actually quite a few. They didn't make none. Although a lot of these come from fake sets. The damn riggers are in the unglued sets. Almost all of them. They got the Steam Flogger Boss in there, I guess. What nonsense. Koskin Falls. I don't even know what this is. Koskin Falls. During your upkeep, tap target untap creature you control or bury Koskin Falls. Man, cards designed back then were terrible. You had to put some horrible downside. You had to pay some horrible downside up front to get some very marginal upside. But no creature can attack you unless its controller pays an additional 2 whenever that creature attacks. So like what? If you run out of things like Ghostly Prison and... Oh, we have a super chat, by the way. So did we run out of things like Ghostly Prison and Propaganda? Because, I mean, those are just strictly better cards. Or are you mono black and you're like, no, I have nothing else. We gotta play this. Okay, Edgar, thank you so much for the super chat. Huge super chat. Tarka's command is one of mine. I splashed my 12 whack Kuldotha just for that. Jank is life. Sweet. Okay, so Tarka's command. Actually, like, this was a serious competitive card and might still see play. Could still see play definitely today. What's funny is that very rarely, but sometimes you would see someone use the third mode. Like, so there's the 2 most important modes on here is deal 3 damage to the opponent, and your opponents can't gain life this turn. Those are the 2 most important modes. If you have a lot of creatures on the battlefield, and it looks like, you know, in 8 whack that would be the case, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain reach till end of turn. I didn't know you get reach. That could really blow someone out. It's like, attack with my Dragon Rage Chandler. Atarka's command. And it'll be like, okay, that resolves. Block. What? Oh yeah, it's very strong in Bushwhackers though. Robber of the Rich is my pet mono red card. The Robber. This is like a better version of that brain stealing one. So a red and 1 generic 2/2 reach haste. Again with the reach. How so? This guy's going in Mission Impossible style. You see he's going upside down. Whenever a Robber of the Rich attacks, if defending player has more cards in their hand than you, exile the top card of their library. During any turn you attacked with a rogue, you may cast that card and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast that spell. But what if my hand is just lands? I'm not rich, I'm poor. I got nothing to do. Lotus Bloom? How is this a pet card? Like, where are you playing it? You playing it in your burn deck or something? This is a tier 1 card. No home right now, but like, it's still good. Deki no Hey Energy Shield. is it energy force field or something? Or maybe is it energy field? Blue, I think you might have meant energy field. Blue 1 generic, prevent all damage dealt to you from sources you do not control. Whenever a card is put into your graveyard, sacrifice energy field. So is this like a combo with like Rest in Peace? I think this is a combo with Rest in Peace, right? Plop down your energy field, put the Rest in Peace in play, prevent all damage. That's it. Yep. Sick combo with Rest in Peace. Can't touch this. Can't touch me. Vicious Rummers. Whatever the hell that is. From the Chalupacabra. 1 black. Vicious Rumors. Speaking stupid these days. Alright, so Vicious Rumors deals 1 damage to each opponent. Each opponent discards a card, then puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. You gain 1 life. Not bad. This is all around pet cards. Yeah, it's all pet cards. Any format doesn't matter. Ireo! I love Ireo. Banned though. Like, where can you play Ireo? I guess if you play it anywhere in Modern, it's legal. This is legal in Modern. Oh, it is a combo that sees Fringe play in Legacy. Yeah, the energy field Rest in Peace thing. I know, because I've been up against it with Merfolk, and I'm like, okay, guess I lose. Can't do anything here. Areo, Suratami Ascendant. I love this card. Is this fair in Commander? Can we have this in Commander again? I'd play this card. Moonfolk. Encounters stuff. I love it. I love everything about this card. It's banned, which sucks. Thanks so much for the super chat, Spencer. I'm convinced Blood for Bones is busted. It just needs the right shell, which doesn't exist in Modern yet. Blood for Bones. This sees play? What are you talking about? Stop playing the cookbook decks. Because you wanted to discard your, the Daredevil. Black 3 generic. It has additional cost to cast this spell, sack a creature. Oh, wait a minute. This is, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one. Return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, then return another creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so sorry. Confusing this with another card. It's confusing with the card where you can discard or sack a creature and play to destroy target creature. So this is like, I know what it does, but it's like really, it's just really janky and awkward because there's no reason you need a card from your graveyard to your hand. It's like completely unnecessary. But hey, if you want to reanimate the hard way, that's why we have our pet cards. Chris Ross with the super chat. My pet card is Thieving Otter. Oh, I gotta see this because I'm a huge fan of the Thieving Magpie. I hope the Thieving Otter's the same thing. Great art! Oh, and does the same Magpie thing. Deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. Huge fan. Huge fan. Due to its unmatchable cuteness, Wizards need to print more otters. It is a very cute card. Unfortunately, the cuteness doesn't add to win rate in this game. But it is a very cute card. Cute little otter. Love the ability. Can't go wrong with that ability. Bruna and Gazella. Okay, I'll just look up Bruna. Is it this? Okay, we got a half of it. Okay, we got Bruna. Just gonna look up half. This is like one of those. You got those two Eldrazi sides together. You may cast Bruna the Fading Light. Sorry, when you cast, you may return target angel or human creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Not bad at all. Flying and Vigilance. 5/7 creature. Combine them both and you get Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells with converted mana cost 3 or less. Make a super card. Yeah, I was thinking of Bone Shards. I was being stupid. Alright. Where is... Actually, hold on. No, we get to keep... Where's it going on? What's going on here? Okay, well, I guess we can do one more. Doing this a little bit early. Forgot that I synchronized the music to Decklist review now. Okay, well, we have one more. We'll look up... Not Ophidian, because I'm sure that you're just telling me what the otter was like. Mog Infestation in Commander. Five mana, destroy all creatures target player controls. For each creature that died this way, put 2/1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield under that player's control. Wow! What kind of exchange is that? They could actually kill you with those tokens. Crazy. Capsize! Thanks so much for the super chat. I appreciate that, Brian. Huge. This is... What's wrong with this card? Well, you can't play this in Commander? Is this unplayable? I don't think I would play this in Modern. Buyback is just too expensive. But, like, I like this card. This is a good card. Oh, you normally target yourself. Interesting. Okay, that's a line. Destroy all creatures target player controls. Okay, okay. I got it. The light bulbs are turning on. Teferi Timeless Voyager is probably my pet card, then because it was the first Planeswalker you kind of get... Wait, hold on. Teferi Timeless Voyager? Was this really one of the first Planeswalkers? 6 mana for... No, this is definitely not one of the first Planeswalkers. It might have been the first Teferi. I don't know what the first Teferi was. So +1, draw a card, put target creature on top of its owner's library. That's strong! When you put creatures on top of your opponent's library, you're basically... It's like unsummon, plus you deprive your opponent of a card. It's crazy. And the ultimate is each creature target opponent controls phases out until end of turn they can't phase in. That's a terrible ultimate. That's one of the worst ultimates I've ever seen. That has got to be like a Coffee and MTG one day. Worst ultimates on Planeswalkers. Remind me one day. Maybe we'll do that on Monday. Worst ultimates on Planeswalkers. Because that is pretty shitty. That is a pretty bad ultimate. Each creature target opponent controls phases out. You go -8 for that? That's terrible. What trash. Okay, it's time for Decklist review. So you heard the music. If you want your decklist reviewed on the channel, go into my description. There's a link to the Discord. Join the Discord. Enter the command. Find the channel decklist review. Enter the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your decklist, and you'll be eligible at random for decklist review. Let's review some decks. We got Scott of the Dark Knight today. Scott of the Dark Knight. A Bosch Goblins. Is that how we're doing it today? Okay, so a Bosch, Goblin Bushwhacker, Goblin Guide, Legion Loyalist, Land's Edge. Sorry, we got a super chat from Random Gradient. Land's Edge. Oh, this is your pet card. Any player may choose and discard a card from his or her hand at any time. If a player discards a land, Land's Edge deals 2 damage to target player of that player's choice. Very political card. Neato. Goblin Guide, Legion Loyalist, Ragavan. You're not a goblin. You're a pirate. Goblin Chieftain, Goblin King, Krenko Tin Street Kingpin, Pashlik Mons, and 4 Fury. I like that you have 4 Fury in here. I know that's not a goblin, but holy damn, that is a very good card. Goblin Grenade, 4 Lightning Bolt. You have the Abosh. Oh yeah, you can't have the other Bushwhacker because it's 2 mana. Aethervial Castle, Embreth, Cavern of Souls, Den of the Bugbear, 10 Mountain, Shinka the Bloodkeeper, Sho Kenzen, Crucible of Defiance. Oh, does anyone... I don't think there's anything too bad about this deck. This is not that bad. Especially since you have the Ragavan. You're actually going to get 3 mana pretty often. I actually think this is pretty good. This is not too bad. Remember, it's a deck playing a Bosch, so you can only play with 1 drops and 3 drops. And 5 drops. If you're playing 8-Wax style, go up to 4 Goblin Grenades. I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe you go down 1 Lightning Bolt, up 1 Goblin Grenade, but then, you know, if you have too many Goblin Grenades, it's pretty clunky. Mog Infestation. Yeah. Stop trolling. What is this, modern? Mog Infestation, is that even modern legal? It's not. Mog War Marshal, I think is 2 mana. Yeah, it's 2 mana. Can't play it. This isn't a Bosch deck. It's possible though. It's possible this is not a very good Bosch deck. Like, I don't know if you could probably could grind harder when you play things like Mog War Marshal. Probably. Like, I'm not 100% sure. But it's not clear that you desperately need a Bosch in this deck. I know where you're coming from. I like a Bosch, but especially when you play with Goblin Grenade, probably it's just better to have like other random goblins on the battlefield over some of this stuff. Rabble Master is better than the Goblin King. Mountain Walk, and so many decks have mountains now. I can get behind this Goblin King. You get evasion versus the Crashing Footfalls against any blue-red Murktide deck, against 4-color control. If you don't have, they all have mountains. The Goblin King has value right now, in my opinion. Yeah, we're at Decklist review right now. As that guy says, question, if your opponent activates Land's Edge and you respond by making yourself hexproof, wouldn't they have to shoot themselves for 2 since Land's Edge says target? It might be on the stack already. Discard a card. If the discarded card was a land card, Land's Edge deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker, any player. Okay, so yeah, you discard a card. Any player. I don't know how this resolves. If, like, once the graveyard checks. It's possible that you don't have the ability to respond. I have a feeling you would just discard a card, and then it would immediately be on the stack, but I have no idea how this card actually works in practice. Yeah. It would fizzle. It would just fizzle. I think what would end up happening is the discard, they actually target you. Then in response, you give yourself hexproof, and then you can respond to the activation. Anything before the colon is the activation. I guess so. I guess so. That's possible. This is interesting. So you discard the card. Does it resolve? And then you give yourself hexproof. If this discarded card is a land card. So you see the land card too. Deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. Yeah, you might have to shoot yourself. Well, this is the errata here. On the right is the errata. Here it's different. Any player may choose and discard a card from his or her hand at any time. If a player discards a land, blah, blah, blah. Valky wants to see Mog Fanatic in this deck. You could. I don't know. I don't know what they would take out, though. Maybe the Legion Loyalist? Maybe. Thanks, Emperor. Reckless Bushwhacker besmirching the other one. So the problem with Reckless Bushwhacker is it's 2 mana. But another thing, like, do we really need this Abosh? So I actually don't have a big problem with the deck as it is. Probably I would get rid of Pashalik Mons. I don't really care for that. Whenever Pashalik Mons or another goblins you control dies, Actually, this is okay, too. This is fine. Actually, I'm fine with this deck. I don't have very big suggestions, except that you might want to consider removing a Bosch for some other Goblin cards, like especially the Mog Fanatic. Not Mog Fanatic. The one that when it dies, it makes a token. Oh, Reckless Bushwhacker is 3-mana. It surges for 2. Oh, then maybe we play this. Reckless Bushwhacker. Reckless Bushwhacker. Surge haste when Reckless Bushwhacker enters the battlefield. If its surge cost was paid, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. So this is not terrible. This is not terrible. I guess the only problem is like how many cheap creatures are we going to play? I mean, there is a good chunk of them though. Do you read comments from members more often? No. I take almost anything at random. The question marks honestly do help. I got a comment in my comment section not too long ago, like, what's with the question marks? And I'm like, it's funny, you guys just do it now, because you know, but like a long time ago, I had to remind everyone, 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question, so it helps me find your comments, or helps me find your questions to answer your comments, because you guys say all sorts of shit, and I have to ignore it. Otherwise, I have to read every single damn thing. Richie says, I've not noticed that. So you have, you guys have, here's the testimonial from an actual member. Became a member, did not get his questions answered more often. Lars says, cut the Ragavan. Ragavan's not too bad. I mean, I don't know if it has the synergy, but I mean, hey, ramping into your 3-drops are good. And there are a decent chunk of 3-drops here. Okay, I'm gonna move on. This really isn't that bad of a deck list. It's fine, thanks for sharing it. We got 3 minutes to speedrun this next one from Rockex, aka Spencer Ward, aka JMD something. Posting on the absolute worst side imaginable. Oh no, it's not. I thought this was deckstats.net for a second. Boomer Abzan. Super Boomer. Dark Confidant, Lion Sash, Stoneforge Mystic, Siege Rhino. Let's just play all the pet cards, all the underrated cards, all the dead cards. Liliana the Veil, Liliana the Last Hope, Inquisition, Path, Thoughtseize, Collective Brutality, 4 Dam. Okay, well, at least one good card is in here. The new 4 Dam. Shadow Spear, Sword of Fire and Ice, Batter Skull, Cauldron Complete. You know, if there's something... You love these mid-range decks, Spencer. You just love them. And so unlucky for you, we keep running into, like, Tron whenever you pay to play any of these decks. The deck is okay. I mean, obviously, these cards, Dark Confidant and Siege Rhino, are completely outclassed by today's standards. They don't really fit at all. I could probably get behind the rest of these, though. Are there any better... Like, what are the better cards to replace these two in black, green, white? Would Ephemerate be neat? Add Solitude? Solitude probably belongs in this deck. I mean, Ephemerate is possible if you build enough around that card. Prismatic Ending is better than Path. Path can stay in the sideboard at this point if Murktide is very bad. Yeah, Prismatic Ending is just better. Where are the Tarmogoyfs? Black, green, X, no Goyf? It's actually Orzhov. If you look really closely, this is an Orzhov deck. There's actually barely any green. There's just a smidge of green for the Siege Rhino. Probably don't even need a forest. If you're up against a Blood Moon deck, side out your Siege Rhino. Actually, so that would be one suggestion I would have. You have a little bit more green in the sideboard. This Endurance is not playable. Okay, you have to... Yeah, I would say... Okay, so what we're going to say is... Get rid of the forest. Don't be too heavy on green. You literally only need, like, I don't know, 1 Overgrown Tomb to fetch. 1 Overgrown Tomb and maybe 1 Temple Garden. That's all. And then just make the rest of it Orzhov. Because this is just an Orzhov deck, right? Destructive Revelry is like okay. There's turn one plays. There's we have Inquisition, we have Thoughtseize. This should be Prismatic Ending, I agree. And Endurance is unplayable. You have no green cards. And getting to double green is insanely hard. I don't know if it's worth it in this deck. Just play like Leyline of the Void. Get rid of the Last Hope. But if you're gonna say that, I mean, I might as well just get rid of everything in this deck. So we're gonna keep Liliana Last Hope. She's not completely unplayable. She's just not great. Needs Vindicate and Lingering Souls to be true, Boomer. No red sources. Oh yeah, what's up? Is there a red source? Is there a single red source for this? That's also an insane card. This is we can't even cast this card. You know what? Spencer Ward was just doing a he was testing us. He was testing us to see if we were gonna pay attention. We paid attention. All right. Destructive Revelry. Get it out of here. Can't even cast it. I would probably definitely remove the 3 Endurances and maybe, I don't know, one of these Destructive Revelries, put 4 Leyline of the Void. I think it would be fine. Yeah, maybe some Grist, actually. Grist maybe could replace Liliana Last Hope. That's possible. I could get behind that. Destructive Revelry is for Blood Moon. They'll give me the... Oh my god! That would be so next level. And that's why you need the Force for. But it's not worth it. This is really stupid. But that would be so next level. You side in Destructive Revelry when you have no red mana, so that you can beat Blood Moon with its own mana. That is some sick tech right there. That is 4D chess to a degree. We are not on the same level as Spencer Ward here. We are not on the same level. That is a level of jank I can get behind. So you need the Forest for that. Okay, so the idea is terrible. This is a really bad idea, but I like it so much that you go with it anyway. It's worth the story when you get them. It's like, thanks to the red mana. Thanks to the red mana over there. 20 cards, you are in Abundant Grove, Grief, Solitude. Yeah, the deck just makes itself. How to make Ephemerate look good. Adam, yo, Nikachu. You have to look at the Emrakul art, alternate art, borderless, and Double Masters 22. It's the best art yet. Remind me on Monday, and we'll talk all about it. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. We do this Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. You want to send me stuff? I got a P.O. box over here. Send me stuff. I'll open it on the channel. Thank you very much all for the super chats. I really appreciate the love for the channel and everyone showing up, making this a fantastic morning. Thanks to everyone who's become a member, hitting the join button. But thank you for being here every morning. Because without you, this show is nothing. And I've said this a million times, I'll say it a million times more. Without you guys, the show would be just me talking to, I don't know, a void. But it's you guys that make the show, not me. It's all of you. So thank you very much. So keep brewing up those coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your weekend. See you at the next cup.